Funeral. They're expected to have a bigger impact than ever before in the upcoming 2020 election. More than 30 million people who identify as either Hispanic or Latino will be eligible to vote this year. Here in California, the Pew Research Center finds Hispanics make up 30% of eligible voters. As Maya Rodriguez tells us, it's a diverse group of people whose votes are up for grabs.
Hispanics make up the largest emerging ethnic group in the United States, one that the outcome of this year's elections may hinge on.
8 out of every 10 Latinos in our country are United States citizens.
Clarissa Martinez is with Unidos US, the largest Latino civil rights organization in the country, now working on voter registration outreach.
We have a lot of eligible but unregistered voters.
According to the Pew Research Center, a record 32 million Hispanics will be eligible to vote in the 2020 election, many of them in valuable swing states. They make up about 20% of eligible voters in Arizona and Florida, nearly a third of the potential electorate in California and Texas, and more than 40% of eligible voters in New Mexico.
Basically, in pure numbers means that if they were a solid block, they would, really make a significant difference.
But they're not a solid voting bloc, says Florida International University professor Dr. Eduardo Gamara. For example, he says, in past elections, Cuban Americans tended to vote Republican, while Mexican Americans favored Democrats, with Puerto Ricans sometimes split between the two parties.
It is a very diverse community. It's national origin, but it's also income. It's also race to a certain extent, right? And Latino women, in some measure, in some places, vote different than Latino men.
Which means campaigns may need to tailor their messages depending on which part of the Hispanic electorate they're trying to reach. Outreach that Clarissa Martinez argues is often missing when it comes to Hispanic voters.
In the last 2 presidential elections, for example, 60% of Latino voters who were highly likely to vote said that they had not heard from campaigns or candidates, which frankly is political malpractice.
But one that can be rectified, she says, with a simple political playbook from either party.
Candidates matter, their positions matter, and meaningful outreach is essential.
In Washington, D.C., I'm Maya Rodriguez.